Hey, welcome to Sasquatch and Cigars. This is Thomas, and it is Sunday night, and it is time for our Definition Cigars review series and a Sasquatch story. So, the cigar that I'm going to be reviewing is the Definition Cigars Anillo. This is a beautifully constructed, I have to read my notes because that's just the way it is. It's a 6 1/4 inch by 54 box pressed cigar. It's got an Ecuadorian Habano broadleaf wrapper. It's got a Pennsylvanian broadleaf binder and Nicaraguan long fillers. The smell on this is pretty good. So Anillo is Spanish for ring or band, and then I was looking some stuff up, and I found that Definition Cigars chose that name as a nod to the cigar culture and the community, because ring typically means or is talking about the thickness or ring gauge of the cigar. So Anillo is the name of the cigar, and I looked up the tasting points. I'm not going to say them on here. I'm just going to go with feel and see what I pull out of it, and then I'll see if they match up. I tend to pull different things out of cigars than what is said that you pull out of it. Now tonight, I decided that I wasn't going to be doing any super heavy drinking or anything like that, so my ice is melting. It's so daggum hot here in South Texas that I've been out here for like 2 minutes and I already got that much water in the bottom of my glass. Coke Zero, because that's just how I'm rolling tonight. Honestly, just do not feel like having a mixed drink tonight. I'm supposed to be starting a new job tomorrow, but I haven't heard if I've passed the background check, but we'll find out tomorrow when I call the company and say, hey, what's going on? So let's get into lighting and doing all that jazz with the Definition Cigars Anillo. Okay, on a cold draw, is giving me kind of like an oaky flavor, a little bit of nutty flavor. Let's toast it up and see what happens. First draw off the cigar, and I'm getting a little hint of pepper on the retrohale. I'd say some definite like post oaky flavoring, kind of like you're sitting over a barbecue pit that somebody's smoking some meat on. Very pleasant. It comes off as more of a medium bodied right now, we'll see how that progresses. But from what I'm seeing right now and what I'm tasting right now, I like it. As you can see, definitely a lot of smoke in this bad boy. Get some of that out of the camera's view so you can see what's coming off the end of here. Nice smoke coming off the end. The dark wrapper is nice. I mean, you can see some of the oiliness on it. I don't know if I'm doing too well on this, showing it, but it's a little back end sweetness on that. Kind of a fruity sweetness, not like overpowering, just hints of like a fruit. I can't place what type of fruit I'm tasting, but that's kind of what I'm getting. This promises to be a good stick. Honestly, though, the cigar I had the other night, the house blend from Hey Guy Cigar Lounge, off the kick, I think I prefer that one over this one, believe it or not. We'll see how this goes in comparison to that one. So let's get into our Sasquatch story, all right? So this happened in October of 1980 in Missouri, Douglas County. Closest town was Dora. It was early morning, about 8 a.m., and there was a witness who said he was out doing some squirrel hunting and was also looking for deer rubbings and some other stuff for deer because deer season was coming up, and I'm not a deer hunter, so I'm not sure. I guess you use that stuff to either attract or bring in other deer. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with it. I've been squirrel hunting. My old man used to take me squirrel hunting when we lived in Illinois, and that was some fun times right there, I'll tell you right now. Anyways, back to the Sasquatch story. So this young man, he was 19 at the time, and he said he was on a hillside on a relative's property, and there was a valley and then the hillside on the other side, and he just sat down next to a tree. He was in camouflage. There was no wind that day, and he was just kind of relaxing, looking for some more squirrels. I guess he said that he passed up some squirrels because he was wanting to see just how populated the deer was, and he was afraid if he started shooting at squirrels, he'd chase all the deer off. But anyways, on the far hillside, about 150 yards away, he saw movement. Dark shape moving through the trees. At first he thought it was a bear. Well, this dark shape got to about a car-sized clearing on the hillside. It was moving across the hill slightly at an upward angle. And when it got to this clearing, it stopped, and he realized it was bipedal. And he described it as being over 7 feet tall by his estimates. He said it was massively broad-shouldered, very dark hair, Had some silvery coloring to the back. He described its elbows as being kind of weird, but its arms were longer, and it was grazing on something or eating something. He couldn't tell what it was, but he pulled out his binoculars and was looking through it, and he watched this thing for about 10 minutes. He said he heard a car pass by on the road that was closest to them, and he said this creature kind of cocked its head to the side and was listening, and as the car passed and kept going, it went back to eating. And the witness surmised that if he had heard the car turn down the gravel road onto the property, he felt like the creature would have bolted, but it stayed there and ate, and then finally got up and wandered off. So he kind of held on to the story for a while, and then he reported it to the BFRO, and a BFRO investigator by the name of G.E. Stade did a phone interview with him and found him to be, in his opinion, a reputable witness, simply because this guy, he was 19 at the time, but he had said he'd been hunting since he was 7 years old with his dad and had been all over the area, was local to that area, so he would have known any kind of creatures, or even the not necessarily creatures, but he would have known the local wildlife, whether, the bears and the deers and whatever other wildlife is in Missouri. So he felt like the guy would have understood what he was looking at, and the description that he gave, it's a pretty long description, and I'll put a link to the BFRO file on this particular case in the description of this video if you want to take a further look at it. Again, it's an older one, I realize that. I guess Sasquatch has been kind of quiet here lately. I was supposed to go out to the forest this weekend, but unfortunately the weather didn't cooperate with me, and we had some thunderstorms roll in, and I'm not taking my equipment out in the rain so it can get messed up. Now you see again why I'm not an ash guy. I don't like holding ash. Anyways, so I'm still in the first third of the cigar. I'm getting a little bit of cocoa from it, a nutty flavor. I'm trying to pinpoint what nut, whether it's cashew or just like a almond or a pecan or something like that. I'm gonna go with a pecan. It's kind of got a pecan-y flavor to it, to me, and definitely some pepper on that retrohale. Definitely getting some pepper out of this bad boy. So yeah, I would put this at a medium to a medium full on the strength of this cigar. Very, very good, very well constructed. As you can see, in my opinion, the burn is still nice and good. It hasn't really gone wonky on me. It did drop the ash, but I think that's because I think I flicked it when I was moving it by accident. Again, I have to say that the Definition cigar line has yet to put out a cigar that I did not like. And I'm not paid to say that. They don't pay me for anything. I don't get these things for free. I buy these out of my own pocket. This particular one, actually, I didn't buy. It was a gift from my son Patrick for Father's Day. He got me a sampler pack, which is what launched this review series, because there was a lot of cigars in the sampler pack, and there was a bunch of them in there. This is my first time having the Anillo, and it's a good stick. And there's a couple others in there that I'm looking forward to reviewing. One is the 413, and the other one is the 5-year cigar. And I think I have one more, the Chairman, that came in there. And I did a previous review on the Chairman just by itself, but I think I'm going to include a new review of it for the Definition Cigar series. And I'm going to go in and organize these particular videos and kind of try and edit them and number them on my YouTube page, and then also on my Instagram page, so that you guys can, go from start to finish and see the progression of the cigars that I chose and the stories that I chose to tell. This coming summer is promising to be pretty hot. So getting out into the forest, doing night investigations down in this area, probably not going to work out for me anytime soon. Again, like I said, it'll probably be during the fall when I actually go out and do some camping and do an extended overnight investigation. But that gives me time to save up, and I want to buy some plaster, so that if I see an impression that I think might be a foot, I can take a cast of it. I can get a bag going that has my tape measure in it, because the last time I went out I forgot a tape measure, so I couldn't measure the print that I thought that I found. So my guesstimation of like 14 to 15 inches was just a guesstimation based off of my foot size next to it. But as I go in to do these investigations, I want to get a lot more organized and prepared for what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So right now I'm a rookie when it comes to it. I'm also a rookie at making these videos, so bear with me as I progress further into this. I'm hoping to get a lot better. I'm hoping to get a little more organized and get a little more detail on the sightings and stuff like that I talk about. Some of them are few, and some of them are, the information on them is sparse, and sometimes you have to piece stuff together. And so I'm kind of happy for the BFRO website, because you can go on there, and a lot of times they'll give a detailed description, or if they don't, then they just tell a story, and a BFRO researcher has contacted the witness, then they'll flesh out more details out of the witness and be able to find out if there was multiple witnesses or just one witness or what have you. But this particular sighting was rated as a Class A sighting because it was a long-term visual sighting. And by long-term, in the Bigfoot world, long-term usually denotes minutes. So, and the guy said that he watched this thing for about 10 to 15 minutes as it grazed and then moved off. So that's why this is classified as a Class A sighting. Most Class A sightings are very brief. Like, people driving down the side of the road and they see something on the side and they say and they describe it as a large bipedal creature with hair. Sometimes I question those, because you're driving down the road at 50, 60 miles an hour and you pass something up on the side of the road. It's very hard to tell exactly what that is at that speed. And that's why I kind of lean towards a lot of these sightings are misidentification. That does not mean that I don't believe. I want to believe. I would like to think that Sasquatch was real. But again, we don't have any detailed, definitive proof. I did see that there's a guy claiming he found a decomposing body of a 400-pound bipedal creature, and he claims to have had DNA analysis done on it and has confirmed that it's a Neanderthal human hybrid, blah, 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 blah. But I've seen video of this thing in a case. He's got it in a case, and I'm sorry. That's got to be the fakest looking thing I have ever seen in my entire life on video. If I ever get the chance to go look at it in person, maybe I'll do that, and maybe that'll change my mind. But right now, from the video that I've seen of it and the photos that I've seen of it, I'm sorry, that looks like the fakest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I haven't looked into the deep on that particular deal because, like I said, it just looks so fake to me. But maybe I'll look into it and find out if he's actually published the DNA evidence report and who did the DNA evidence report, and was it a reputable laboratory. A lot of experts in the field are very skeptical at what he's saying. I'm no expert, but I'm very skeptical about what he's saying. So maybe I'll look into it, and maybe later this week or in the midweek I'll talk about that story a little bit. But I'll have to find a good cigar to get me through that story. Okay, so I'm starting into the second third of this cigar. Again, definition cigars, Anillo. I know my pronunciation is terrible on that. It's Spanish for ring or wrapper or band. Sorry, ring or band, and it's spelled Anillo. And I have a hard time pronouncing Spanish words. I'm trying to learn Spanish, but I've kind of slacked up on my Duolingo that I've been doing. I've also been doing German, so I'm kind of trying to learn two languages at once. But the closest, Anillo is the closest that I could find of how to pronounce it. If I'm pronouncing it wrong and you can pronounce it better, please send me a link, or talk about it in a video of your own, and teach me how to say it, please. I'm all ears. If I'm making a huge mistake on the pronunciation, then please let me know. But I'm definitely getting more of It's kind of ramped down on the strength, so it's mellowed out to just a medium-bodied cigar right now. I'm definitely picking up notes of a latte, like a coffee latte flavor. The sweetness, there's a back end sweetness that's still there. I don't know if I'd call it citrusy anymore. And it's not really sugary. Maybe like a caramelized brown sugary, but very, very subtle. Not caramel flavoring, but just like a I don't know how else to explain it. Again, I know most of you guys that sit through these longer videos, I really appreciate it. You can see that I've done videos on other cryptids, the Dogman, the Flathead Lake Monster. So if there's, like I said, I've said it before, if there's a cryptid that you want me to look into or do a report on or talk about while sharing a stogie on camera, then please let me know. Say it in the comments. I'll look it up. I don't mind. I do this a lot for just the fun of it, but I have an open mind. And again, you have to, with Sasquatch, you have to take into account that a lot of the First Nations and the Native Americans have a lot of lore and stories about Sasquatch. There's a bunch of different names for Sasquatch over the different nations. They all have different representations of the thing, but it's there, and it's in their lore, and it's in their histories, oral teachings and stuff like that. And then you have to look at all of the accounts of early people who came here talking about seeing creatures in the woods, bipedal, walking around, talking about giants that they've seen. So there's got to be something to it. Again, I'm heavily leaning towards what we're seeing is quite possibly a descendant of Gigantopithecus, which was a very large ape-like creature that existed thousands and thousands of years ago. And I kind of believe that maybe there might be some still out there. Now, why we haven't found an actual body or remains, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Maybe over the course of time, they've gotten smarter, and when one of them dies, they just take the body off and hide it and dispose of it. I don't know. I do not buy in to the interdimensional hullabaloo that people are talking about with Sasquatch, that, oh, he's an interdimensional being, he can step through dimensions and blah, 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 and that's why we don't find a body. Poppycock. Just straight up poppycock. The only way that I would believe something like that is if I saw it with my own two eyes and filmed it, this thing walking through a portal. Okay, that's the only way that I'm going to believe it. Or if somebody else captures actual footage of a Sasquatch walking through a portal and disappearing, then I might buy into it. But here again, in the day and age of freaking AI, man, and as AI gets stronger and better, it's going to get harder and harder to find out or to determine what's real and what's AI. I've got a coworker friend of mine who basically off of a picture of me, he's got a picture of me running away from a Sasquatch, smoking a cigar, carrying a camera, chasing me down. I'll actually post that. It's funny as hell. You can definitely tell it's AI, but it was funny as hell, and I laughed my ass off. So if they're able to create, I mean, my banner that I've posted that actually has the Sasquatch with the Houston skyline and the glasses and this hat, and the logo that I came up with, believe, smoke, repeat, that I created that with AI. So, you know, and I know a lot of people are down on AI. I have a daughter who hates AI. She can't stand it. I sent her the banner, and she's like, her first words were, "Ew, that's freaking AI. I hate it." Well, okay, I have a little bit of an artistic nature to myself. I can draw stuff that I look at, but I can't draw out of my head. So maybe one of these days I'll do up a sketch. One of my daughters said that she'll do me a sketch up and then I can put actual artwork up for my logo and kind of transition away from the AI stuff that I've been using. But for right now, that's just the simplest thing for me to use. It's very easy, and I can ask it to generate something, and it does. So that's why I use it. As you can see, this thing, the burn has been nice and clean this entire time so far. No wonkiness to it. I haven't had to take the lighter to it. I haven't had to relight it. That has been indicative of all of the definition cigars that I've smoked. The quality of craftsmanship that goes into these is just outstanding. Sorry, a little bit of tobacco. Cheers. I was trying to see what was printed on my wife's glass. I used one of my wife's glasses because it was the cleanest glass, and my glass that I was using the other night, I forgot to wash it, so bad. Shame on me. Uh-oh, look at there. See, I was talking it up and I let it go out. That it's out. Wow, that's a first. I've never had a definition cigar do that to me. That's the first time I've ever had to relight a definition cigar. I guess there's a first for everything. Heck yeah. That didn't even mess with the flavor of the cigar. Not at all. I had one cigar one time that I was smoking and it went out, and I went to relight it, and I don't know if I made a mistake in not doing it right or whatever, but it was like a super heavy freaking burned flavor for the next like 2 or 3 draws, and then it kind of mellowed out and went back to the normal flavoring that I was getting. But if there's a trick to relighting a cigar, please let me know. Okay, so the oakiness has transitioned away. There's still a woody flavor to it. More cedar. Still getting some pecan flavoring out of it. And the latte, the coffee latte, has kind of transitioned into more of a dark espresso. Just the flavor profile on this thing is very complex, and I like it. I like it a lot. Definitely getting a mixture of things from it. I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. I'm going to show y'all my mascot. Or maybe I'm not. What the heck happened? Hold on just a minute. I hope that this... Checking on something? Okay. Good, I'm still recording, but I think the battery went out on my remote control. Never mind, I'm not going to do it. I was going to pan around and show you my mascot. My cat Charlie is out here. He's sitting in the other chair watching me. Protecting me from the element. Oh, I got to tell you guys something. The other night when I was sitting out here, I was smoking the house blend from Hey Guys Cigars, and I was on the very end of it, about that much of the cigar left, and I'm sitting here and I heard rustling next to me, and I look over, and I shit you not, there was an armadillo that walked by right over here. That sucker without the tail was about that big. Scared the shit out of me. I was not even expecting it, and I'm like, that's the first. I've never seen an armadillo on this side of my neighborhood. They've always been towards the back of the neighborhood where there was a lot of woods. Before they cleared out the woods and added the new neighborhoods to this area, we used to see armadillos a lot, raccoons a lot. We still get raccoons. There's a gutter right over here, and the raccoons will come out of the gutter and they'll wander around this area. There's a cake store right up the road here, and I think they go in the back and raid the dumpster for goodies. Okay, so the pepperiness on the retrohale has mellowed out on the back half of this second third. Definitely a smoother retrohale right now, and on the retrohale I'm kind of getting like baking spices. So nice transition. I'm not getting the burny feeling in my nose from the pepperiness. Oh man, definitely a good cigar. Shout out to Definition Cigars. Y'all guys knocked it out of the park again. With that being said, I'm going to stop the video there, and I'm going to finish the cigar, and I will post in the description how it turned out, and I'll rate it. Again, I honestly have to say this is a good cigar, but that house blend that I had the other night, I actually prefer that one over this one. It was an Ecuadorian Habano, and man, that was good. And shame, like I said in the other video, shame on me for discounting house blends, because you never know what you're gonna get. Anyways, I can't turn off my video remotely, so I'm gonna stand up, walk around to the other side of the phone and shut it off. God bless. Have a good night.